morning. My name is Hannah. I'm the Client Relationship Manager at Testa Society. Can you share what inspired you to become a social entrepreneur and sustainability catalyst? Was there a pivotal moment that motivated you to focus on environmental and social causes?
Yes, thanks for the question, for the opportunity to be here. For me, I see the social entrepreneurship journey as a healing journey. It's a personal healing journey of, if you want, we can also use the metaphor of like the hero journey back to the heart. We can also use academic terms such as the U theory from MIT, from Otto Scharner, about presencing and going deep within yourself to really seeing who you are. So it's a process of self-awareness. And through this process of self-awareness, the transformation happens. So for me, it's been basically a journey of really understanding my mission, my vision, my life kind of goals. And from there, kind of putting step by step and creating a pathway for me and also for those around me. And of course, for the social projects I'm building. And in terms of the eco value, I believe that the world basically is in a way suffering from a lot of individual and collective traumas, which are really connected with the idea, with the ego mindset, right? The idea of I and things that are focused on the mind or at the heart. So for me, the ecological barrier is basically this journey in which go away from fears, from not being in the present moment, and basically kind of projecting insecurities from past to the future, and taking this more into the heart space, so you can actually be okay with presence, which is actually being rather than doing. And this being aspect is what I think drives eco-sustainability for me and for the world in general, because when we're actually in an act of presence, we can be much more clairvoyant about what is really important to do, what are the priorities for someone's life, for projects, for those around us, and then take action. And this action space, if it comes from the heart, it can't actually be not successful. So basically that's how when I started actually connecting more from this aspect, that's where I started seeing also what are my clear visions and missions. What do I want to achieve in this lifelong journey before I die? So I can actually die peacefully and be able to really pass on a certain legacy and bring it to the earth alongside with myself going to the earth. So it's really this journey towards embracing yourself as part of nature and going deeply immersion with that, with the dreams that come from this simple understanding, which is very powerful at the same time.
Thank you. It's wonderful to know about your mission.
Thank you so much, Teddy, for your insights. So coming to your personal growth, how have your personal values, experiences, or challenges shaped your journey in leading projects like EcoManca and Soul Dreamers?
So when I think of values, I even have them actually written here. I would say that these values are coming from curiosity, self-exploration, their compassion, altruism, creativity, emotional intelligence, presence, clarity, intuition, love for nature, respect. All these values are basically the values that I believe are part of a self-leadership structure. What does it mean to actually have a self-leadership structure? Is to basically really understanding who you are, but also understanding your limits and understanding how you can actually embody them through who you are. So once you actually connect this, let's say initially idealized persona with who you are, that's where life thrives. That's where abundance comes true. And I believe that that's basically what inspired me to go into this journey, and basically also how this journey is unfolding. And this is an inspiration towards the next steps.
Yeah, thank you so much for your insights. So coming to the cultural influence, given that your work involves cultural immersive retreats in Latin America and Southern Europe, how have these experiences impacted your worldview and your approach to social entrepreneurship?
That's a really beautiful question, because for me, being in touch with communities in Latin America and Colombia, where I live 6 months per year, and being in touch with the plant medicine coming from ancestral practices, which have been done there as healing practices for thousands of years, right? That innate wisdom, which I associate with, for me, it's also feminine energy of creativity, because I associate with the kind of grandmother spirit, either as my grandmother that lived, but also as the idea of grandmother, what can actually bring to someone's life of inspiration and guidance. I feel that those journeys allowed me to really embrace the unknown. And embracing the unknown is making peace with non-attachment, making peace with not dictating outcomes, making peace with not controlling things, because in the end we have absolutely no control about anything except of our relationship to ourselves and to the divinity in whichever form that is basically manifesting for us. And that's the which we actually can have control to really kind of safeguard, because from there everything stems out. So in this dance with the unknown, I believe that the projects that I'm building, they're all following this journey of, in order to really be able to create abundance, you have to have a certain level of trust. That's the foundation, right? And for that trust and safe space in which you feel and you can create for yourself that, because it's also kind of your responsibility to create your own context and to change the context if you need to, and to keep evolving and responding to the stimuli that are coming from life. Then from that element of trust comes the insight. Because the moment you have trust and you allow that trust to actually create a presence and a space, then insights come through. And from these insights, which are really connected with your own kind of emotional intuition, emotional intelligence, right? Then you can actually go forward and actually start co-creating. So it's really a journey of understanding myself, understanding what's no longer needed, what's needed, taking that action in connection with others. And for me, I've developed this framework. We've developed this framework because it's many of us. It's a decentralized autonomous organization. DAO it's said these days. So we've created this journey basically based on 5 pillars. One, that we are nature, and nature is vital. And this comes from the knowledge that I've gathered from the connection with the tribes there. Then comes the idea that we have a personal responsibility to keep transforming and to learn and to evolve. And that's done through deep shadow work, which is basically embracing your own kind of unconscious controlling behaviors, which can be either coming from the way you've started creating a mindset that maybe becomes a loop and you're kind of stuck there, or it could be something connected with a trauma in childhood that you had, something that hasn't been resolved, maybe somatically, maybe physically, you haven't actually managed to actually unleash that because you associate a story to that. So deconstructing that story is another element that is very important. And basically using the emotions to actually guide you in that process. And then also there is the actual element of ancestral trauma as well that comes from the way your parents are being basically conditioned, or the way your nation, your territory, your collective is coming from a certain trauma that is being repeated. The idea is for you to really find that transformational opportunity to actually cut that pattern and break free and find new ways to actually connect your neurons and your brain cells in a different way so you can basically evolve, transform. And that's something that I feel that is done on an individual and also collective levels. And also the storytelling aspect of this is super important, because once you've understood it, you can also express it. When you express it, it's also therapy for you, but also for others to actually have this exchange of information, which leads me to the third pillar, which is the community finding. We are basically thriving in communities where we can't really do things by ourselves. So it's really about identifying what your tribe is, or tribes of various kind of layers. And as you identify belonging to those tribes, and as you actually reach that level of cohesion and solidarity, then comes the opportunity and the duty and the sine qua non condition for, again, I'm mentioning dying peacefully, which is to actually bring something to this system, which is social impact, how to give back and what to give back and which modality, while having this base foundation of trust and self-love, which allows you to go through these journeys. So for me, being in those communities has helped me a lot, because there, over 1 day, 3 days, you actually go through this whole process, sometimes in a radical way, and then it actually showcases in a very miniature what life is about. And then once you actually leave those experiences, those communities, you're actually embracing the same kind of challenges in real life. And then how do you actually can dance with them, how you can embrace them, how you can actually hug them rather than face them. Because again, another very important insight I got from these opportunities and communities is that when a challenge comes to you in your life, it could be like a relationship challenge, or it could be a professional challenge, or some loss, or any degree of pressure. If you respond with pressure, you're going to suffer. But you respond with letting go and embracing it and basically surfing the waves. I'm using this metaphor because we're close to the ocean here in Portugal. Surfing the waves and actually using that force to modulate you, to take you forward, and to allow you to co-create with it, then I guess that's what makes life pleasurable in the end.
So coming to the professional success, video game industry experience. With over 13 years in the video game industry, how has your expertise in gaming and augmented reality helped you innovate in the sustainability and ecotourism space?
Yes, so I've been working in the video games industry for 13 years. I've been basically organizing events and working very much on the sales side of things. To be completely honest, I was never a gamer in that sense of playing games. At the same time, I was enjoying this vibe of the games industry because it's very fun. It's very entertaining. It's basically people being very authentic. So I think that element allowed me to really connect quite easily to it. At the same time, when COVID hit, I felt actually guilty because I was part of an industry that was prioritizing and actually evangelizing basically the virtual world, which for me, I never really connected with that much. I felt COVID for me was basically a big element of shake because it didn't allow me to actually do what I do best, which is basically to network, to thrive, to connect, to shake hands, to feel that human touch. It also was an important aspect because it allowed me to actually go deeper within myself to actually build those projects. But during COVID, I started seeing really the shift between games as a medium of entertainment to games as a medium of behavioral change and social impact. And the games industry medium is such a powerful medium now because if you look at people around the world, let's just go into a metro. Everybody's on the phone, like 90% of the people. Maybe 5% are reading a book and 5% are contemplating. But we're kind of missed the idea of contemplating, I think. Just like sitting there and gazing, right? That doesn't happen that much anymore because our minds are so ingrained with this fast food concept of like just devouring information. Those Instagram stories of like 5 seconds, right? I think that's the perfect recipe for disaster, for ADHD and for people controlling others, right? Through information. So, and sometimes I'm guilty of that as well because, we're all have this prone towards addictions, towards media and things. But that moment was super important because it allowed me to see how the world is so ingrained into this, how the kids are basically just playing games all the time, rather than reading a book or something or playing outside. And therefore I felt like, hey, well, since my initial objective was to actually create a retreat center and to basically be in nature and to actually bring people there, that was my initial idea of Soul Dreamers. And I always felt that there should be a social component to it, which was about how to connect with communities. And I started thinking, well, maybe it is about education, right? And it is about gamifying education. It is about basically bringing games as a tool for behavioral change and social impact. And since the games have a beautiful way of basically allowing you to have fun, to be interactive, to entertain, why not use that medium to actually create something very engaging where people can actually just connect with that technology, but also with themselves and with the idea of nature all together and co-build things together as groups. So that was the insight, and that's what I take from the games industry. And also I see life as a game. I think everything is gamifiable. Everything is a gamification if we start playing, right? I think that's what we're missing, the idea of play. So if we can bring more play into conversations, into relationships, into work, into a daily routine, but also into how we educate ourselves and others, I think that can only be a beautiful outcome at the end.
Yes, you're right, Eddie. You're right. Coming to the next question, like innovative projects. So could you elaborate on the innovative approaches you have taken with the Ecomanka and the Soul Dreamers?
Well, I think everything is innovative there. How would you like me to tackle this question? Like on one specific angle, or do you want me to go into like how general or specific you want me to go with this?
You can explain these projects different from conventional ecotourism or environmental education initiatives. In that way, you can explain.
Okay. So I guess what we're building here is an ecosystem because in the end, for me, all these projects combine certain elements. They combine a personal and collective social emotional learning, which is vital for someone to be healthy and to be creative, I think, and to basically build things in teams, co-design innovations, right? So that's an innovation per se, to actually have access to that element of fluidity within your body and you remove emotional blockages. The second part of innovative element is this idea and this practice that everything is nature and that we owe to nature who we are because we are part of it. And this self-care aspect and collective care goes in that direction. So basically being aware of the power of that element within our lives and of the values and how projects can be built from this idea of sustainability from ecological perspective is actually super vital for the world to thrive in a better direction. And then third is entrepreneurship. We believe that, this world in the end, action is what drives also the change, right? So by co-designing possibilities in one's life that can really enhance and create a better life for you and for others around you, that's basically the social entrepreneurship side, right? So on the Soul Dreamer side, what we're building here is several things. So we work on building eco-transformational experiences via retreats, right? And those retreats are connecting two elements, because usually when you have retreats that are ecological transformational, you start thinking about spiritual experiences. That can be aha moments, heightened, which are bringing you into a connection from a shamanic perspective, ancestral perspective with divinity, within yourself, but also within nature, within and the high spectrum. And these aha moments are super insightful and can actually really just make you so aware. Sometimes you can actually transcend years of therapy with that insight. But without the therapy and without the actual preparation and post-integration, and without the actual support community, but also in a professional way, you may lose them. You may just not put them into practice. You may feel alone. So how can we actually take those amazing insights, how can we actually facilitate, reach those amazing insights into the journey? So when you are in the actual spiritual experience, you actually have more clarity of why you're there and what you want to achieve. Of course, of all the unknown that comes through, because so it's also about the subconscious element, and then how you can take that forward in your daily life. So when you come back, you not only feel transformed, but you're actually really transforming your whole aura around you, which will basically create better relationships, better professional outcomes, more abundance, right? It's about abundance. It's about the journey also from chaos to clarity and from mindlessness to mindfulness. So that's the Soul Dreamers part. Beyond this element of Soul Dreamers, we're also focused on tourism. What is tourism for you? And I think for me, tourism is a healing experience. Tourism for me is basically you going somewhere and affecting energetically who you've been with there in that connection, because it's an exchange of values, of knowledge, of heart, and then coming back with a further understanding of who you are, what do you want, what is your kind of dream, but also how do you want to, what you've learned from there and how you can apply that and how you can build that friendship further, because it's also about building friendships, right? So it's fostering like longer term impactful actions through various things, socially, professionally. So it's really a transforming experience. It comes from transforming inside your heart. So for us, Soul Dreamers tours are of two kinds. On the one side, they are the ones that actually allow you to really go into new cities. For example, I'm running an experience here in Lisbon. I've done last night with 8 people, and this experience is really about uncovering city secrets from art perspective. So street art, music, culinary. So we look at what is actually really unique, interesting, that doesn't exist on the map, and we actually create those tourism experiences. But this tour is about interactive storytelling in which you are the actors. You are the ones in charge. So your energy, your ways of connecting will also transform the experience. For me, I never get bored because it's always a different group. I'm always learning something new. So it's a real interaction. And I really believe that we're not spectators in the society, we're actors. And it's so important to actually take that action element within yourself and showcase. As actors, we're also leaders, right? We're leaders of creating our own experiences. For me, tourism is about really personalized, authentic, co-crafting experiences for the ones coming through. So when they come, they feel, I've never done this before. It's going to be a unique thing in my life. And then I want to actually have something changed in me and we'll do something more. So that's one element that I've created here in Lisbon. And also something that actually really inspires for the next action we're going to do with Soul Dreamers. We're going to actually build a City Secrets Hub, which will be basically those that booked me the last 2 years, but also others around the world that want to really connect with city secrets in a more authentic way, so they can actually have access to like non-touristic elements in Delhi or in Nairobi or in other parts of the world, where through local knowledge you can actually get to like more interesting, beautiful spaces and maybe create a network on that element. And in this network, there's of course this type of tourism, which is the general city, of course focused on areas with authentic experience, but it's also the social impact side. And of course, they go hand in hand, even in the first one. But in the second one, is purely focused on a community that is actually coming from a vulnerable situation. It could be a shantytown, a slum, favela, a barrio social. And for this one, we're actually launching in Medellin a tour with Angela that I mentioned before, which will be really about deep connection with the culture, their interactivity, storytelling. And it's about leaders, how leaders actually manage to come out of trauma, go through resilience, and go towards their own transformation from ego towards ego, which I mentioned before. And they're going to follow these journeys, and we're creating this as a game, because in the end, as I mentioned, life is a game, and gamifying it is beautiful. So in my tours here, but also the others, we're basically doing a lot of questioning, asking for them to actually be mysterious.
Basically, you need to let them open up so that they will come out. Like that space isn't required in order to know more about them and give the healing space.
So Ecomanca is the second project, and basically it's now like the way we connected and the way we work with Catalyst 2030, which I just came out of the meeting,
Right.
European chapter before this. Ecomanca is basically a social design innovation that basically designs and also trains and curates eco-educational programs globally. And we're targeting basically this towards the youth, initially in marginalized communities, in vulnerable communities, because the idea is that if we can actually prove that this concept works in the most adverse scenario, then obviously it will work in all the other schools that we want to actually target globally. And it has three basic elements. It has the social emotional learning, ecological awareness, and social entrepreneurship, all combined into a curriculum of 15 weeks. These 15 weeks, the teenagers, we're targeting teenagers between 13 to 18 years old, they're going into a role-playing journey that is gamified, that is fun, that is interactive, of actually ritualizing spaces that actually belong and they go enter and leave out. We have the me space, the idea of like self-awareness, who I am, what do I want for my life, what is my dream. Then we have the collective space, about the collective mission, who are we as a group, what makes us powerful and unique, what is our strength, what is our dream. Then comes the nature space, how we're actually part of nature and how nature is suffering globally, how we can take action locally to reverse the process, how within our body and soul, the body and soul, the community. And then there's, of course, the co-creative space, which is basically human-centered design, where the actual teenagers, they decide on an eco-social problem they care about in their own community that they want to actually take action towards to change. So from an urgency and empathy perspective. So here, they basically tackle an ecological social issue, and then from there, using narrative game design and other empathy-inducing activities, they're basically building a solution. The innovation here is that, well, I don't know anyone that actually has done this before, and then so just the idea of the concept, but also we want to actually create this connection between experiential learning in the community, in nature, with the digital aspects of it. So we're actually working with digitalization as a tool to support and that kind of aspect of behavioral change and social impact. And we want to use this technology also as a way for you to allow you to contemplate about yourself, those around you, life in general, like nature and the community, and to allow you to actually scale up as well. Because at the end of this kind of curriculum journey, we are creating a metaverse of space experiences in which each of these community projects will actually be placed there or enhance networking opportunities. So something from Calcutta with someone from Calgary could be there, or from Peru, from Lima to Kinshasa, So the idea in this metaverse of opportunities, you can reach out to further audiences, consumers, investors, academia, media, educators, universities. So, and this could have multiple possibilities of co-creating further, from anything from scaling to finance, access, etc., education. So our innovation basically relies on this fun, user-run, basically player-run journey that allows you to actually dream and put your dreams into practice within a community and really support getting new skills and bringing new projects in. Our first project here that we're hopefully getting funded for, we're going to learn this in the next 10 days from a Swedish foundation. It's going to take place in Medellin in Colombia. And from there, we take it towards them solving the major issue in this community, which is trash. It's basically a mountain of trash, and creating urban gardens. And from this urban garden creation, creating tourism programs, which allowed them to actually gamify this, also with digital storytelling and also verbal storytelling. And then basically building this on Airbnb experiences, TripAdvisor, and things like this, which would allow for more revenue to come through towards these communities.
Fabulous to experience so many things in that 15 weeks. Thank you.
Yes. So coming to the role of technology in sustainability, as technology continues to evolve, so what emerging tools or platforms do you foresee playing a critical role in promoting sustainability and social entrepreneurship?
Okay, so I feel that their experience can be enhanced through digital aspects. So let's give an example. For example, a very adverse example in tourism, right? I've been to Rio de Janeiro several times in Brazil, and I was actually lucky to be taken to some areas that you can't really enter. They're very hermetic because there's a lot of social stigma. There's a lot of gangs also operating there, and a lot of like this struggle between the police and the gangs. For me, they're both the same, just like different title, because really the fight there is for drugs, or access to drugs between the two. And then you have the citizens in between. So the citizens that live in those favelas, they are a community. They're super unified because they feel that they need to be close, because that's their only chance of being there with these kind of fighting happening sporadically or regularly across their houses. And then there I've seen like a lot of desire for NGOs to actually start things but they can't because people cannot actually enter those places yet. So what would be like an initial way to actually open up these spheres is to create maybe initially from a tourism perspective, like virtual tours, right? Virtual tours that can actually be accessed by an NGO that will run them. There will be actually some funding for that from the state, but also from individuals to actually support that kind of element. Because if this actually evolves, this allows for the community to see, well, there's actually an opportunity to actually connect education, tourism, and technology towards the next step. And this could open up new kind of windows of opportunities for other projects. And then if you look at the youth education, that's another very important aspect because the youth, as I mentioned, they're so connected with tech and with the idea of playing games. So if you can lure them into this kind of aspect in which they're actually doing something they will like and love, which is learning through fun and interactively speaking. If you can actually
learn it faster that way.
Yes, exactly.
The gap needs to be bridged so that everyone is on par with technology as well as grounded to the grassroots level. Thank you.
So, coming to the end of the session, like questionnaire. So, collaboration with We Heal the Earth. So, through the Academy Social Franchising, would you be interested in taking on roles such as mentor, coach, knowledge partner, social franchising?
Yes, absolutely. I am interested. Also, my team is interested because we have different kind of skills. We have someone that is actually really good with design, innovation, and in our team, such as Visa, we have someone that is really super good in marketing and this, and I'm good with building basically the ecosystems and social entrepreneurship programs. So I think there's ways to collaborate from Ecobanca with this program as an institution, and I'd love to explore more on that. Yeah.
Definitely, we would also love to explore more once we also get to hear from them as well.